Hello everyone, welcome. Thank you for joining with us to reflect on this Sunday's Gospel, and let us open our hearts as we listen well to the Gospel.
And here's the Gospel according to Luke. But to you who hear, I say, love your enemies, do good to those who hate you. Bless those who curse you, pray for those who mistreat you. To the person who strikes you on one cheek, offer the other one as well. And from the person who takes your cloak, do not withhold even your tunic. Give to everyone who asks of you, and from the one who takes what is yours, do not demand it back. Do to others as you would have them do to you. For if you love those who love you, what credit is that to you? Even sinners love those who love them. And if you do good to those who do good to you, what credit is that to you? Even sinners do the same. If you lend money to those from whom you expect repayment, what credit is that to you? Even sinners lend to sinners and get back the same amount. But rather, love your enemies and do good to them, and lend expecting nothing back. Then your reward will be great, and you will be children of the Most High, for he himself is kind to the ungrateful and the wicked. Be merciful, just as your Father is merciful. Stop judging, and you will not be judged. Stop condemning, and you will not be condemned. Forgive, and you will be forgiven. Give, and gifts will be given to you. A good measure, packed together, shaken down, and overflowing, will be poured into your lap. For the measure with which you measure will, in return, be measured out to you.
Before we break open the Gospel, I'd like to reflect on the fact of today. Where are all the people of faith in our society, in the societies of the world? Where are they giving witness? Where are they standing up for the faith and for the essence and purpose of all faith, which is love? Let's now look at some numbers so to bring that question alive. There are 2.4 billion Christians of all denominations. Of that number, 1.3 billion of them are Catholics, 1.8 billion Muslims, 1.3 billion Hindus, 15.2 million Jews, and 506,000 Buddhists. That's just to name sort of the major religions or the major players in the world, but there are so many other forms of religion throughout the world. And all of them move towards, if they're true of religion, is the essence and purpose of love. That's what they're all trying to help us to access God and to live out of love. Those are the two basic understandings. So that's one thing I really want you to consider, to be able to look at that. The second piece is, I want you to keep in mind the following. For the measure with which you measure will be in return be measured out to you. Let me say it again. For the measure with which you measure will be in return be measured out to you. And when we say, well, is God going to do this to us? No. What I'm going to say to you, you're going to do it to yourself. So how you respond to life is going to be measured back to you. And you don't even know it. But it will, and if you measure out hurt and anger and frustration and all kinds of stuff onto other people, judgment, making people pay, you're going to do the same thing to yourself. And so many ways what you're doing is you are feeding a cancer back into yourself that will end up destroying yourself and for all that which you touch. So I just want you to keep that in mind. Also, as we begin to reflect on the reading today, I need you, as we did last week, join back in the Gospel of Matthew on the Beatitudes. And he said, you got to have a sense of surrender, a surrender of giving up of your own poverty, so you can let God's love fill that poverty and heal you, so you can be freer to love and to live. And as you begin and embrace this freedom, you'll also begin to start living, and personally, in the relationships that are around you and community, it will begin to expand out. First, an unbelievable sense of compassion and empathy, a commitment to nonviolence, a commitment to restorative justice, a wonderful feel and sense of unconditional forgiveness, unconditional love, peacemaking, and peace building. Those pieces, those teachings, those words will become part of your fiber as you get more in touch with letting God do the work he needs to do inside of you. And that's the purpose of all religion, is to help people get inside so they can get in touch with God's love, God's forgiveness, God's healing, God's wonderful, wonderful gift of his mercy. And so we need to see and understand and appreciate that last beatitude in the Gospel of Matthew. You will experience a sense of being insulted, persecuted, and every evil will be uttered against you if you start living what I just said. The culture does not want to hear it. And one of the sadness of my heart, as I see, is that many Catholics, and I'm just talking about the Catholics because that's what I am, many Catholics are basically been co-opted by the culture we live in, but not only within America, but also in other parts of the world. They've been co-opted. You are more American than you are Catholic. You are living out of the values of America than you are living out of the values of the gospel. It doesn't mean you're bad. It just means you haven't done the spiritual work. You haven't gone in deeper in order to touch into that mystery of God within you, his forgiveness, his healing, and his love, as I said. And so you really got to ask a question. How am I going to begin to look at what he says today, which is very difficult because you can't do it on your own steam. First, you have to experience God's power with you as you're living out those words I gave you, those 6 words that I gave you, so that you can do what? Now just listen to what you're asked to do. Love your enemies. Love in the sense of actively looking for the good in a person who is hurting you and doing things for you. To do good to those who hate you. Bless those who curse you. Pray for those who mistreat you. Lend expecting nothing back. Be merciful as your Father is merciful. Stop judging, stop condemning, and forgive, 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 forgive. I ask you to consider these, and I want you to take them one at a time. Spend a day or two reflecting on what does it mean for me to love my enemies? What does it mean to me to do good to those who hate me? What does it mean to bless those who are cursing me? Not only as individuals, but as a country, as a community. How are we going to respond to that and to be able to somehow begin to deal with these? So we need to look at these, but we also have to do the inner spiritual work. We also have to begin to try to live those 6 words of the Beatitudes so that we can begin to take what Luke put down in 6:27 to 49, an unbelievable saying, this is what it's going to begin to, you're going to start beginning to do. But you need to do and prepare the soil first to be able to do it. So take each one, like love your enemies. Take it, pray with it, wrestle with it, struggle with it, and be honest with your God about how you feel about it. Go through each one and we'll post them on Facebook with you. Thank you very much.